Now we are going to talk about what is called as the Workday connectors. Now Workday connectors are pre-built integration templates. Let's think of it as that way, they are templates. They are starting points that we will say from where we will build and configure our integrations. Connectors are pre-built integration templates that extend Workday's functionality to external systems for HCM, payroll, finance, spend, etc. All these integrations are hosted and maintained by Workday. When we say all these integrations, we mean the integration templates. The integration templates are hosted and maintained by Workday. They are the ones who are going to give you upgrades. If there is a problem, if there is a bug with that particular integration, they are going to fix it. They are going to work on it. If we see some issues, we will let Workday know and we'll open a case. We will let them know and they will fix it for us. But then why do we need to learn about this? Why do we need to know about Workday connectors? Because we are going to configure them and use them to create actual integrations and exchange data with external systems. Now Workday provides two types of connectors. One is the end-to-end connector. Now this end-to-end connector is for a specific named third-party application or service. It is very specific to that endpoint. Because the output format, etc., will be exactly as per the requirements of that particular organization. For example, Cigna. For example, Blue Cross, Blue Shield of North America. For example, TurboTax. For example, your ADP. ADP is a payroll vendor in the US and Canada. If you are looking to exchange data with ADP, typically, what would you do? You will get the data using maybe an EIB or something, and you have to do a transformation. You have to do a transformation to create the file that matches the specifications of ADP. All customers are doing the same thing, they are getting the information, transforming it and sending it over to ADP. Workday thought that, okay, what if we create a template so that everybody doesn't have to create that integration from scratch? Because we will create it for them and they can just use it. It's a value-added service. That is why they started creating with end-to-end connectors. What we have to do is we have to just take it and we have to configure it and send the information to the end system. I would say around 80 to 85% of your total effort is already done for you. The end-to-end connectors. If there is an end-to-end connector available, we should try to use it. Then comes another type of connectors, which is our connectors or the package connectors. Some people also call it as Cloud Connect or the core connectors. These connectors are pre-built but not specific to any particular endpoint. They're very generic. That makes it a good and a bad thing. Good thing is, we can customize that as per our requirement. Bad thing is we need to spend a little bit more effort in configuration. Whereas the end-to-end connectors is around 80 to 85% done, for you, the connectors, I would say, will be like 50 to 60% done. Think about, the end-to-end connectors are like those pair of jeans that you get from the supermarket. You get the jeans, you fit it. You try it out in the trial room, you see it is fitting more or less, but maybe the length had to be altered a little bit. Happens to all of us. Maybe the length is slightly longer than what we are expecting. Then what we do? We go to a local tailor, or maybe even to the supermarket. They have a tailoring area. We ask them that, why don't you alter it for us? With minor alterations, that jeans is good to go. That is the end-to-end connector. But think about the connector is about those dress materials that you get in the market, especially for the Indian dresses that our women wear. You have it, most of it is done, and maybe the embroidery part, the critical things are already done for you. But then you still have to take it to your tailor and get it made according to your specifications. We can understand that we can relate to that. That is the connector. A lot of it is done for you, but still, some level of customization, some level of configuration is needed before we are able to use it. Now all connectors, irrespective of whether they are end-to-end connectors or core connectors, they would need some level of tenant configuration and testing. They will need some level of testing always. It is not like it is always foolproof. It is always absolutely correct. I'm working on a connector right now, an end-to-end connector. That too. It is for the Canada Life. It's a benefits provider. It's in Canada. We have a connector for that. But when we have started sending files, we are seeing that there is a problem. There are a few fields which needs to be changed. There are something that needs to happen. It is not exactly working. But unless and until we tested it, we thought that it would be a very simple, straightforward end-to-end connector. But when we started testing, we identified certain issues. Those issues have to be fixed. In the functional side, we have to add some data, etc. But the point is, even for end-to-end connectors, you need to do some level of tenant configuration and testing. Each customer may have their own specific mapping requirements and different endpoint configurations. Each customer may do it differently. Each customer may have their own configurations set up. Nowadays, especially the businesses are changing their offerings. They are giving new value-added services every now and then. The level of subscription that a customer is in, the type of services that they have opted for, they all affect the content of the data that we are sending. Even if it's an end-to-end connector, we may have to tweak it, test it, and we may have to configure it as per our requirement, as per the customer's requirements. Now the differences in the customer configurations. We can accommodate that with Workday's integration, templates, and mapping capability. We have a lot of capabilities in the templates itself. We can use them and configure the system as required. The Workday integration platform is quite robust and we have different tools, etc., which we can use to create the output that we need. These are Workday connectors.